Yesterday, TikTok had a US outage. Their US operation attributed that to a power outage at a US data center. And creators were hit the hardest. People noticed that their algorithms that were functioning weren't functioning normally. The explanation didn't add up necessarily based on known data center operations and the lack of power outages in those areas, and the fact that Oracle did not have any outages. Immediately after that outage, myself and quite a few other creators started noticing something. Normal conversational political content, from accounts that are very political to accounts that just kind of casually mention politics. But importantly, content that is not against published rules or against the community guidelines or misinformation. We're getting hit with strikes, some of which weren't specific. Other ones were getting misinformation listed on those. And it's important to note that some of these videos, they're uncontested facts. A lot of them had to do with Minneapolis, yet it's being hammered down as misinformation. So I recorded some of these.
Video that I posted a couple of days ago after a certain event happened, and it says on my strike that I got a community guideline violation for spreading misinformation.
To give you examples of just kind of like odd behavior.
Not happening, big dog. Sorry to break it to you. Donald Trump's invading Greenland for Peter Thiel now.
Ice Chief Greg Bavino is a Gestapo thug is a sentence that this morning little guy Greg said would cause you problems.
Calling law enforcement names.
Ice Chief Greg Bavino.
So you can see it. And then I did the somewhat obvious thing of trying to message TikTok support to get a human, not just the automated system. And of course, the human support system only gives you 140 characters to message them, but I did my best to kind of cram my question into just that small box, since I don't know of any other way to contact them directly. But after submitting the ticket, it was instantly closed. And when I clicked view details, it errored out a few times. And so I got it to go through one time and it said, we'll get back to you, but it still closed it either way. So no, they won't get it back to me. Importantly though, this means that the platform can punish speech, but a human cannot get an understanding of what that reason is. There is no readable explanation. There does not appear to be any meaningful review, especially as some people have noted that when their videos get taken down for community guidelines violations for, say, misinformation or other things that are covering facts, some of them don't have an appeal option at all, and the other ones just sit there for eternity. And here's the part that I don't want to gloss over or miss. In a normal world, we can look at behavior like this and fairly say, this is a private company. It is their rules. It is their decision-making on community guidelines, and if they don't want a user to have reach on their platform, that is their prerogative. I would like to remind you that the existence of TikTok US is not a normal situation by any stretch of the imagination. It is certainly not a private market situation as we normally understand. The United States government set up a divest or shutdown regime for TikTok. The Supreme Court upheld that decision, and the executive branch is the one who has actively managed the compliance, the deal structures, and the deadlines. Just the other day and throughout this last month, the reporting has described the new U.S. joint venture structure involving Oracle, Silver Lake, and MGX, with ByteDance retaining a minority stake. The U.S. venture is now responsible for things like content moderation, as well as algorithm and security oversight. Under U.S. law, the government isn't allowed to suppress speech indirectly just by leaning on intermediaries. If a platform's survival depends on government permission in order to continue operations, then the practical effect is viewpoint-skewed suppression. And within this system, as it's working practically, there's no meaningful appeal. This is the exact zone where private choice can become a state-influenced action. I'm mainly posting this to share with you the examples of what I'm talking about, because a lot of people have noticed it. This really does come down to more of a First Amendment issue. It is politicized speech that is being actively suppressed, and TikTok US is not a government agency or something like that doing it, but it is a very, very political, government-initiated reason for the transfer of power and moderation capabilities of this company to a very politically involved actor and group of people and companies. The easy solution, of course, is myself and many others are just going to exit TikTok. There's certainly, because of retroactive strikes and things like that are being applied, there's nervousness about, say, Oracle's cooperation with government database efforts, especially with the actions that Palantir are doing right now. With the categorization and the expanded license for them to use your data and materials and for whatever purposes that they put into the updated privacy policy in terms of service, there's good reason to be worried. I will keep my own theories about that outside of this video and just stick to what the core purpose is, but it's a sad conclusion to an application that was once a beautiful way to connect cultures and viewpoints, share experiences, and it is now a very isolated, US contained, heavily censored piece of the machine, I suppose.